The following is a Jibber Jabber podcast production. Welcome to Show Off Music's New Crop Country. And I'm your host, Greg Stafford.
Summertime is here but gone, out on the East Coast, in a little town by the sea, the locals call Lancelot.
Our next guest was born in the northern reaches of Newfoundland and Labrador. She was raised in a remote village on the lower shores of Quebec. Now this is important because she's here to talk about her latest single, Small Town Girl. Please welcome Jessica Lavallee. That's a great song. Hi, Jessica.
Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Greg.
So I listened to your song, Small Town Girl, and my first thought was, what a rich voice.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I was like, where did this person come from?
Oh, thank you.
Take it away,
Yeah,
Jessica.
I'm from a little town called Lourdes de Blanc-Sablon, and it's right on the tip of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I am so proud of where I come from, Greg. I really am. I'm so thankful that I grew up where I grew up to. It's such a peaceful and just beautiful spot. It's right on the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to go to the beach in the summertime, and we get to pick berries. We have a beautiful wild berry that's called bake apples that's just grown wild all over the place in August typically.
Yes.
And so I grew up a lot going berry picking in the summertime, at the end of the summer in August. And we have the hockey tournaments in the winter time, mm-hmm. and the skidoos and everything else on the go. So I had such it's so hard to explain, but I appreciate everything that I've been through my whole upbringing. It's really special to my heart, and I'll never forget where I come from.
Well, I think you captured that in a song, and I think the folks probably listening to you, obviously they've probably known all this time that what we're discovering right now about you. And what's that phrase? It takes a village, right? But I know what you mean by going back, and I'm from northern Alberta, and we used to pick things called choke cherries, and they're
nice.
They're very tiny, tart berries that grow, and some people make wine out of them. My father used to, but memories like that. Now, first of all, I'm glad that you call it a skidoo. And do you call it skidooing? Because when I grew up, we used to call it skidooing, and now people call it sledding, and I'm going, what are you talking about? So.
Well, we used to there's different types of snowmobiles, I guess, but I've always called it skidoos. I know there's a type of skidoo, snowmobile, and that's what it is, a skidoo, right? I think that's what it is. Oh my, I don't know. Right? But I've always called it skidoos. So
right.
That's just.
Did you know it was actually supposed to be called snow dog or ski dog?
Really?
But there was a mix-up at the printers. And then they did 00, and the guy came back and went, wow, I think that's great. He went with it. There we go. A little bit of Canadian trivia.
Well, I had no idea.
So the town is on the north, or it's on the lower shores of Quebec, but it's very close to the Labrador border, right?
Yeah, it's literally about a 5-minute drive. Like Blanc-Sablon, it's about 5 minutes away from Lancelot, and Lancelot is on the Labrador side, and Blanc-Sablon is on the Quebec side. Yeah,
it's a border town.
Yeah. We're about, in the summertime, we're an hour and a half difference, and then when the time changes, we're the same.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
or a half hour, I think, actually. Oh my, I can't remember.
8:30 in Newfoundland.
Yeah. What's that?
8:30 in Newfoundland, right? Yeah. So obviously you grew up there, and then you moved away. You went to Newfoundland, to the island, or what happened?
Well, I went to Newfoundland for school when I was younger.
Right.
And I did a music industry and performance program in Stephenville
Oh,
that was about 20 years ago. Yeah.
right. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
What did that entail? Like, did you learn?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
a 2-year course?
It was a wonderful course. Yeah. It was a 2-year program.
Mhm.
And it was absolutely wonderful. I met so many wonderful people. And yeah, I had a wonderful time during those 2 years. Yeah.
Ah, and then
Yeah.
you started working towards the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of involved with music way before that anyway, but I
Mhm.
just really wanted to take a course that involved anything in music. I just found out sort of, I don't know how, but I decided that would be wonderful to take,
Mhm.
because why not?
So,
Yeah.
but your family, your dad is a musician, right? And didn't you? Wasn't your first stage show with his band when you were about 6 years old? I think I read.
Yeah, when I was 6 years old, it was in the basement of the church back home, and Borderline, my father's band at the time, and they invited me up on stage to sing "There's a Tear in My Beer" and "Ashes of Love." And I had a cowboy hat on, and I was so short, obviously, so I was on a table and I was dancing. And I think there's some footage around somewhere. I don't know who has it, but I think there is.
Right.
But I had a wonderful time, and I honestly, Greg, I couldn't get off the stage after that if you try.
You fell in love.
I sure did, yeah.
It's again, we're thankful. I mean, your voice is incredible. I mean, obviously, obviously, other people thought that too, because you made it into Canadian Idol, if I recall.
Yeah,
Correct?
I made it top Canadian, top 40 twice.
Yeah.
So both like 2 years. And yeah, so that was a really fun experience. I had a fun time doing that. It was fun to originally get the gold ticket when you try out and all that. And then when you get flown to Toronto, and of course, like coming from a small town, I didn't really travel a whole lot. I didn't get out of Blancpain much to travel. So it was kind of fun to travel and get out and, experience something new and different, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So you recorded the song that we talked about off air that I really fell in love with after, of course, listening to Small Town Girl. And then, of course, I dove a little deeper and found your EP that you did a few years ago. And there's 3 songs on there, but one really stood out to me, and that was Hullabaloo. And I think you told me off air that your father wrote that with you, or together.
Dad wrote that when I was about 12 years old. My dad and I, Dad's band, we recorded a full album.
Mhm.
So Dad's band backed me up, and we recorded a bunch of songs that Dad wrote, and then one of his bandmate John Groves wrote. And I also wrote one song with him, and it's called "We Can't Be Apart," which is one of the songs that I recorded down there out of the EP. When I was 12 years old, I wrote that with Dad. So yeah, it was recorded in the shed. And my dad, I think he had some equipment that he, had, and we recorded it all and sent it out. And sure enough, we had a CD not that long ago after, and we went door to door and sold it around Newfoundland and around home and around Labrador. And so that song came about then when I was 12. So when I was
the song kind of goes like this. If you just have a listen, hopefully you can hear it.
Hold down, show down, hold down, Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
I had fun recording those with Kent Wells.
Right.
I flew down to Nashville about 6 years ago, and we recorded those songs, and oh, what a time I had. Kent Wells was just absolutely wicked. He captured so much wonderful moments, and yeah, he was a wonderful producer.
And he's the fellow that produced Small Town Girl that we're listening to and talking to about today, right? And he's got some pedigree behind him as well, right? He's worked with one person in particular that's kind of famous that I used to listen to when I was a kid. My mom used to play. Where's that one song over and over and over again, which I love? It's called Coat of Many Colors.
Oh, see, that song just hits my heart. Like, it was with Dolly Parton. He works with Dolly Parton. Yeah. And I met her and Kent lined that all that up for me. And I was able to meet her one time in Toronto. And I can't thank Kent enough for that experience.
So what was it
but
like?
He is such a genuine person. Like he is such a, and what a musician. He's just phenomenal.
That's terrific. So I have to know, what's it like meeting Miss Dolly?
She's just so sweet and just so genuine and just somebody like somebody you've always known your whole life. Like, right. She's just got such a great spirit. You know, when you meet her, it's just like she's dolled into you, right? And she wants to know who you are, and she takes the time for you. And I thought that was so special.
So she's just like what everyone thinks that she's like. That's yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you must have recorded more than one song with Kent. You working on others, or you have others in the what do they call it? In the can? What do they call that?
You mean with the newest recordings? Yeah. Yes. So we recorded 3, and I'm going to release them as singles. Right. So that's to come in the near future. That's good. We had a slow one. So there's another slow one coming. And then there's also a kind of a faster one that's going to be a wonderful summer song. Yeah. Oh,
one of those summer earworms. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it has a lot to do with the ocean. So that's going to be kind of cool too, and boats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, sort of going back to Small Town Girl, the photos that accompany your video. In Canada, and for those people that are maybe from the US that are listening to this, but in Canada, Newfoundland Labrador actually plays a lot of commercials on national television for the tourism side of things. And watching your video, I was just like, it's like one of those commercials from Newfoundland and Labrador. And that's a compliment, because they do such great work. And I know the scenery there is exactly as pictured, because I was fortunate enough to go travel to Newfoundland in 2013 with my wife, and we went back there for one reason, for a couple concerts, but we actually got to go to her old homestead, and we toured through there, and it was beautiful. And we went to a year later, we went back to St. John's, but we went to Quiddy Viddy, I think it's called. Yeah. And it's just, that was just gorgeous. I mean, in this little cove, and it felt like I was in a movie shot or something. It was how you see the movie and the seagulls are flying off in the distance, and you got these big rocks in the ocean there. And I was like, am I on a movie set? Because it was just stunning. And it's, I don't know how to explain it. People have to go there and you have to experience it. But
I know, right?
But given the scenery, the people are amazing and so welcoming and so open. So when you talk about your hometown like that, it goes back to the genuine feeling of those people in the small town, right?
Yes.
I don't know how to explain that. I remember, like, it's like going back. You haven't seen a good friend in a long time, and then you picked up where you left off.
Exactly. And that's pretty much how it feels every time I go home. and what kind of started this whole idea of the song in the first place was I was home visiting with my husband and my kids, and I felt so homesick leaving this time specifically, that when I came home, I was so heartbroken to have gone, like to have left home. I did what I normally do, is pick up a guitar and start singing when I feel that kind of way. And I let my feelings out, right? So I felt so homesick that I was just like so proud of where I come from and who I am, that I wanted to put it on paper. And the best way to do that is with a song for me. And so I started the song shortly after that visit. And then Dad came up to visit not long after that to come visit us. And then he helped me with the song. And then we sent the song off to Carmen and Bennett out in the States, and she did some stuff there. And then that's how it all came about. That's how all three of us wrote the song together. And I cannot be prouder of the song. It represents who I am. It represents where I come from. And I know it's going to resonate with people that had to leave and that are gone, or wanted to leave or whatever. But every time you go back home, it's literally like you've never gone, like you've never left. That's pretty much how I feel every time I go home. Every time I step foot in Blancabong, it's like, wow. It's just I don't know. It's just what a wonderful feeling. And I always get that feeling every time I go home. So I just wanted to put it in a song, and that's how Small Town Girl came about.
You did a great job. Everyone did a great job. It's a terrific song. And I'll play a little bit at the end of this podcast for people. And I encourage everyone to go find it and go listen to it and listen to or watch the video. And, the artwork that goes along with that song, you got a photo in there, and it's incredible. Who took that photo? It's great photo for the, it's like an album cover, but.
Well, her name is Isabel, and Abel Photography, if I get it right, I think that's what it is.
Right.
And she did an absolutely wonderful job. We had such a wonderful time on that photo shoot. It was absolutely freezing, Greg, that day. You would never know. Oh, no, it was freezing. But
well, that's why you had the scarf, I guess.
Yeah, but we had such a wonderful time. It was, we captured some wonderful moments there.
Yeah, it's, well, again, I'll put the photo up in this podcast, or on the video portion of the podcast, so everyone can have a look and see what they're looking for. Because if they see the photograph and then they're looking for the song, they'll put two and two together right away. So great job,
especially
on that.
The cover with the hat and stuff.
Yeah, it's all that mystery, right? It's the mystery. Yeah,
that was the point. Like, who's that girl? Who's that? Okay, I'm gonna go search for her.
So you talk about going back home and small town, right? Small town girl, and you must have favorite meals and things like that, because like I said, my family, my wife is from Newfoundland, born there, but she left at an early age. But it's kind of funny because I used to stop in a place called in Lloydminster, and in there's a big chain store, but they have this little section called International Foods. And I walked by, I can't remember why I was looking, what I was looking for in particular, but then I saw these things called jams. By Purity, I think they're called, right?
Cookies, yes.
Yeah.
With a little red, oh my, they're so good.
And I remember my wife talking about jams.
Yeah.
So of course I had to, we were just dating then, so I had to impress her. So I bought some of those. And then I bought, there's partridge berry jam.
Yes,
which
is the baked apples I was telling you about.
Yeah. So that was on the shelf. And then Purity had these candies and things like that were there. So I bought all the stuff, and then I took it to my wife, and then her sister found out, and then next thing I know, I'm sending packages of jams to California. So
the purchase berries is actually, so I have to correct that because it's not the big apples. It's actually called, where I come from, where we pick up red berries, and we call it purchase berries too. So it's red, right?
Yeah,
it's little red. Yeah, it's so back home we pick them up wild too, and it's probably around September time, and that's the red berries. We call it red berries back home.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people call it a purchase berry. Yeah, I forgot about that. You see? Yeah.
and just to let you know, I've been screeched in, so I'm an honorary Newfoundlander.
Nice.
And I kissed a cod and I liked it. And what else? I had cod tongue, which for people that are listening, it's actual inner cheek of the cod. Is that right? I don't know, but it was delicious.
Well, I don't know.
I had it at a chain restaurant, at a place in a Smitty's restaurant, which I thought was kind of cool.
Wow.
Way back then. Yeah. So I got to try out a few things in Newfoundland, and I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead.
The jigs dinner. Sorry for interrupt, but the jigs dinner is obviously something I grew up on. Every Sunday, I would go with my grandma and grandpa for dinner, and we would always have like a ball up. Right, we would have the whatever kind of roast in the oven, and we'd have the salt beef and the potatoes and the carrots and the stuffing or the stuffing balls. My grandmother used to make those. Oh my God, they were so good. And then we'd have like the raisin pudding and there's just, every Sunday we'd go down. That was a tradition for us every Sunday.
Well, speaking of traditions, like in Newfoundland, and I know you're actually technically in Quebec, right? But you spend a lot of time in Newfoundland. But I remember
I was born in Newfoundland.
You were born in Newfoundland, yes. So a couple of my friends from Newfoundland would talk about around Christmas time, they'd have this thing called mummering. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that called mummering? Where they well, that's a take on, like in Canada, for those people that are listening outside of Canada, it's always big to have a get together. If you have a party at someone's place, for some reason you always have the party. It seems to focus in the kitchen, but isn't mummering where they come over and they sing songs and then they gather more people and they go on to another house? Is that how it works?
Well, I don't know the exact history around it, but I do know that was something we've always done back home. It's been a tradition that's been passed down for years and years and years, right? And so typically is what you're just back home for Christmas time. It's like the 12 days of Christmas, and it's literally 12 days. So you don't know when people are going to pop in and just celebrate a Christmas party. It'll just eventually happen. You may not even organize it. It just happens, right? But typically is what happens is you might get a knock at the door and it says, "Any mummers allowed in?" You get a knock at the door, right? And then they comes in and their face is covered. You could have like pillowcases around their tummy, and you can have rubber boots on, and their face is covered so you don't see who it is, right? You're not allowed to talk really. And they goes in, they has a dance and all that stuff, and then they sits down, and typically the people who live there, they offers them a drink, and then and so that's what the mummers do. They go around and around all the houses, and he has a drink. So probably by the end of the night, you're pretty half-baked.
So speaking of mummering, and there's probably out of that, is there like a lot of singing and?
Oh yeah.
Well,
that's the thing, right? Typically, I know when I used to do it, it's and I still done it we still do it here in Ontario. My neighbor close down the road, he's a Newfoundland too. So every year I dresses up like a mummer, and I goes down to the house and I knocks on the door, and I goes in and I goes around all the table in the kitchen, and they're all spread around, and I has a good old dance with them, and then I leaves. But then I takes all the stuff off outside, and then I comes back in like Jessica.
Well, I want you to have a listen to something that I found on the internet. But it's not really a winter song, but it for some reason it reminds me of like a kitchen singing. And as soon as you hear it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But also on the video, there's a really interesting mug that says something about the moods of Darth Vader.
Oh,
Does that sound familiar? Anyway, so here's a touch of the song.
oh.
Sitting underneath the giant willow tree, whispering, rain falling down on me. Smell the wet grass filling my lungs. Hear a bullfrog croaking, he's the son of a gun. Call to his brother out in the smoke. Come on over.
That's a fun song.
Oh,
It's called the
Dad and I wrote that song.
what?
My father and I wrote that song when he came up for a visit one time.
Bullfrog Blues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, Dad, I said, let's sit down and we're going to write a song. And he said, okay. And I said, listen, let's try and make like a Marty Stewart style of a song.
Yeah.
And he just started playing this riff. And I
Yeah.
said, oh my, that sounds like Marty Stewart. And sure enough, that's what it came out of anyway, like the song Bullfrog, right?
So-
yeah.
In the video, is that your father?
Yeah, that's Dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrific. What's his name?
Yeah. Terry Lavallee.
Terry. All right. Shout out to Terry.
Nice. Yes.
That's a great song. I liked it. It was wonderful. And then there's another song that I found. The lead into this one is probably a little long for when I recorded it, but we can probably talk over. I want to hit it, and we'll fix it in the mix, as they say. But it's another song, but I can't. It doesn't show the title. It just says original song by you. It's coming up. It's fading in.
From 2 a.m. they call last call. We could barely get up and we almost hit a fall. That was all. Laughing and singing all the way to the bar. The taxi driver took us home and that was all.
Yeah.
You know what?
You have a
I
gift.
don't know if there is an actual title to that song. I wrote that one by myself.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever titled it.
Well, the title of the video is original song by Jessica Lavallee.
I guess I
But-
should put a title to that song. What do you think, Greg?
I think so. I was trying to think about what the title would be, though.
Yeah, I
But
know.
It's a really good song. Like
Thank you.
I don't know if you had feedback on that, but I don't know if you're thinking of recording it, but
Wow,
same with
thanks. Wow.
Bullfrog Blues,
Yeah, I love that.
trying to
tune.
get that poor dragonfly.
Yeah, I know, right? I've always said it. That would be a wonderful tune for like an animation film or something. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I've got it in my mind. It's in my brain. I'm like, this would be a fun animation film for my youngsters to see, like a bullfrog with like, it'd be fun.
Yes. It's a very good song.
Thank you.
So back to your song. When you said you sold a Hullabaloo when you were 12 years old, but you also mentioned
Yeah.
that you spent some time on the road selling the CD, and you mentioned off air that
Yeah.
you spent some time camping in Newfoundland. What's the name of the park again?
So my family and I, when the tapes came out, because at the time it was tapes,
Yeah.
and we took off to Newfoundland and went over to St. Anthony, and then we went to Corner Brook and all those areas and
Mhm.
Rocky Harbor. But we camped out in Gross Mourne.
Right.
That's where we were, and then we used to take off during the day and come back, right? So we did that, and yeah, we did. We had such a great time. We did really well selling the tapes door to door. And I wasn't too shy going to the doors. I was only like 12 years old, going to someone's door, knocking on the door and say, hey, do you want to buy my tape? Yeah. And my sister was with us,
Yeah.
and my cousin actually, and mom and dad. Oh yeah, we had a wonderful time. Yeah.
So you're into the business at, well, 6 years old, but big time marketing at 12.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fun to me, right? And then
Yeah.
actually a bunch of my aunt and uncles, they used to have like a bunch of tapes too that they would have on hand. So if anyone came to the house to be like, hey, do you want to buy this tape? You know?
Yeah.
So everyone had like a some, and they were helping with me like to sell it. It was a real like everyone supported me so much. Yeah.
That's good. So you're also was a finalist on CMT Karaoke?
Yeah. Gosh, I can't remember how long ago that was. Probably about 15 or 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I tried out for Karaoke Star, CMT.
Karaoke Star.
I made top 10, and they flew me to Banff, Alberta, and we had a wonderful time. And yeah, that was a really fun experience. I've never been to Alberta, so that was absolutely beautiful. I loved it there.
That's a good place to start in Banff.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got
what time of year were you there? What time of year?
I think it was November.
November,
I
okay.
can't remember exactly. But I remember at the time Johnny Reid was there recording a Christmas special.
Yeah.
So we got to go in and be a part of the audience and stuff while Johnny Reid was recording this Christmas special. And I seen the video after, and me and my husband was in it. So that was cool.
There we go. Signs of things to come. Wow.
Such a great time. Yeah, we had a really nice time.
That's terrific. So when you said there's three songs that you have, and when do you think your next release is going to be?
Probably in like 2 months.
Okay.
And then we'll release that and promote it. And Soundcheck Entertainment is helping me tremendously through this whole thing, because it's a lot, the business side of it, right? So it's Hendrik has been a wonderful help. And then during the summer, we'll release the third one, because it is a really fun like boat. It'll be wonderful for the boat season when the boats,
I think you have an event planned for June 18th or something as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or June something.
I'm playing at the Green Acres campground.
Right.
That's going to be fun too. There's a couple of things lined up. You can find it on my website. I'm sure there'll be things that are added as we go, because it has been kind of slow with live shows lately, but I think it's going to pick up pretty soon. So,
yeah, it seems like some of the COVID related things are starting to drop here. So what was I going to mention? Darn it! I'll have to cut this part out. Your socials, you can find where can you be found on the internet? You're on Instagram.
I'm everywhere. But if you wanted to go to my website, which is www.jessicalavallee.com, JESSICALAVALLEE.com. Everything is there. All the links and stuff that you want to find is all there.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And links to your videos and
everything.
Excellent. Okay. Well, we'd love to have you back when you have your next release.
Come back.
You have a standing invitation. All you have to do is knock at the door.
I'm gonna be knocking and saying,
we do a virtual mummering.
Yeah.
I'll have some jams.
We'll have some jams and some partridge berry, and you might have a little bit of whiskey there for me.
Little screech, eh?
Little screech, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just everybody, I highly recommend that you find Jessica and you listen to her single, and all the better, buy it and have a listen to her video. You'll love seeing those parts of the country. It's just outstanding. So we'll sign off right now. And again, thank you very much, Jessica. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
It was very nice to meet you too. I appreciate you having me on, and I had a wonderful time. It was great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Summertime is here but gone, out on the East Coast, in a little town by the sea, the locals call Lansdowne. The set sail in the morning, they dock the boats each night, casting nets by sunrise and a full moon that shines so bright, that shines so bright. I'm